I would guess most people are probably listening to this now or watching it and thinking, well, you put that much time into a big hotel chain and there's so many opportunities to rise up within that chain and probably end up in a pretty big corporate job. So what changed that saw you kind of move on and decide to carve your own career and become this entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think COVID, definitely it was COVID. I was put on furlough for about a year and a half, so a long time. I've always had an entrepreneurial streak to me. My dad, who's literally my role model, he's always had his own businesses and I've always kind of looked up to him. My mum and dad have a really lovely dynamics. My mum's very she's the backbone of the home.
I've seen the pictures, they look like the perfect...
They're mad. They're absolutely mad where I get it from. But my mum is the home of the backbone of the home, and my dad is the one who financially looks after us all. So we've got such a lovely dynamic, in my opinion. And he's always been my work role model, and he wanted to get in service accommodation. And I was the one that was more on the fence about it. This was pre-COVID, because I was planning to carry on going with my career, with my path. I had an incredible manager at the time as well, and he was helping me kind of craft my future out in the business, and then COVID hit, and which reevaluated a lot of people's lives. My mum got very sick. COVID came
through COVID.
No, sorry. So she was sick a year before COVID. So she got cancer. She's fine now, which is amazing. But I think when these big things happen in your life,
big life events,
huge life events. I was really lucky that the hotel massively supported me through my mum's sickness, which I'll always be grateful for. But having that a year before COVID and then COVID hitting, obviously I had time on my hands and I was completely reevaluating my life, what I want to do, the kind of future lifestyle I want. I had a partner at the time, so I was kind of, when you have a partner, you naturally think about one day settling down, children, all these sort of things going through your head. And that's when me and my dad set up the business. During COVID and national lockdown, we set up a service accommodation business.
3
of them at once as well.
So your father started pre-COVID though, right?
No, so we started together. He was trying to get me on board pre-COVID.
Okay.
But I was interested, but I was...
It's a natural progression, right? Because you've got hospitality locked in, so you've already got a huge fundamental base of the business. What was it that drew your father? Did he have any hospitality experience? Is that...
He's property,
already in
property. So it was 25 years, probably nearly 30 years of property experience now. So my dad's always had his own businesses. He's always been a successful businessman. He wanted to do something a bit different. He wanted to work with me because he is incredible at growing businesses, strategy, all of that side of the business. And I'm obviously really good at the hospitality side. So he wanted to work with me pre-COVID, but I was interested, but life takes over. I mean, I had a demanding full-time job. It's just one of these things you put to the back of your mind. Sure. I had far more important things to be thinking about. And then once you hit COVID, I mean, I was in the same 4 walls every day, all day, to think about things and wonder what I want for my future.
Yeah. And I think what COVID did as well for a lot of people, and I think that's why there has been an explosion of, whether or not you'd call them entrepreneurs or not, I don't know if, I'm still trying to work out if you're born that way or if it's something you can learn. But I do think that there's been this huge explosion of people that have, post-COVID realised how delicate, the fact that their whole life, their financial life, their security, their family security is all in the hands of an employer. And at a whim, right, that can change. I think a lot of people were like, right, I need to take control. I need to find a way of being in charge, determining my own future, my level of income, my level of security. So it doesn't surprise me that you were sitting around thinking, well, what other opportunities are there? And it sounds really nice, that idea. Maybe it's not as romantic as it sounds, you can tell us about that, but the idea of being working with your family, I do some stuff with my family, which has its pros and cons, as I'm sure you'll allude to. But was you sitting there thinking, well, I like the idea of it, but do I really want to get into business with Dad? Was there an element of that, or?
Well, you know my dad, so I think we're quite similar in personality, me and my dad. So
and you look like the spit image of your dad.
So we are similar in many ways, which has its pros and cons as well. So when we started working together, it was fine. But very quickly, kind of those initial issues were arising. So it was very much a sort of father and daughter relationship. He'd have the final say on everything. And I had to kind of say to him, we're business partners, we're 50-50 business partners. I understand we can listen to each other, but you can't have your say as the final say all the time.
You're not just dad in every situation who's making it,
Exactly, and it's very difficult, and you kind of have to adapt. And it's a slow. I mean, I don't know how. I think I was 24 when we started working together. So for 24 years, it's very much the traditional, like, I have the final say, my house, my rules, that kind of situation. To go from that to go, how
making decisions together.
Yeah, and you know how hard it can be with any business partner to make decisions. So when it's your dad who naturally has been the man of the house for that time, it was very difficult adjustment. We made the adjustment, but because we're so hot-headed, we're Italian hot-headed, the same personality, when things were great, it was great, but when we would disagree, it was like World War III. You'd think someone, honestly, like something bad had happened, but we're just bickering about probably what biscuits to put in the properties. And we were at some sort of mentoring day, I don't know, we were having some training. And the lady who was doing it with us, she said, you two need to put in boundaries. She said, I love your relationship. We have a great relationship. But she was like, you need boundaries because it's like almost like personal attacking each other and like exploding over the craziest things. And once we actually sat with her and she made us wear these stickers that said B, and I was like, this is ridiculous. But it actually worked, having...
B as in like A
B
and
for
B,
boundaries.
Oh, B for
yeah, well, I would have been A, Alex. I would have been A. B for, we both had to wear stickers that said B for boundaries.
Okay.
And every time we'd get agitated, it sounds so silly. I'd be like, B for boundaries, Dad. And like, we're so silly. We'd
like holding the pillow as well.
Yeah. And it did actually work. Like, as silly as it was, that we had to put in those boundaries. I mean, the only thing now is we have probably less of a father-daughter relationship and more of that kind of playful friendship. My siblings, I'm one of four. They all say like, I'm Dad's favourite. I've got a special, like the special bond with him. But we've worked together for a long time. Like it'll probably be a long time until it goes back to that. But I obviously know when he's serious, that's it. Like it's back to the original.
Don't mess with Dad.
It's the line, like you said. It's that boundary. Yeah. So I know when I've pushed too far, but I can't help myself sometimes.
It still sounds pretty good, to be fair.